Very good morning to all of you. I am Dr. VG Sadh, Associate Professor, IPS Academy Institute of Engineering and Science, Indore. I belong to a Humanities department. In today's topic, we are going to discuss about the barriers to communication. I think this topic is very relevant in the present scenario because everyone talking about the communication gap or the generation gap or some kind of barriers that is quite common in our present life. So today we are going to discuss at length, and we will try to understand what are the problems we are getting it and how we can overcome with this problem. So first thing is, before starting the barriers to communication, first we have to understand what is communication. Communication derived from a Latin word communicare, which means to share, to impart and to make common. Whatever the information we have, we share with other people and they share to other people. So obviously, sharing of information, facts, figures, idea, opinion to other people is called communication. So when we talk about the barriers to communication, first we have to understand the process of communication. What is the process of communication? So first thing is that we always require two or more people for communication. First is sender, second one is receiver. Sender send the message to the receiver with the proper medium or channel to the receiver. Receiver receive it, understand it, comprehend it, assimilate it, and he gives a response to the sender. So in that particular process, what happens at any level of time, at the encoding level or decoding level or a medium or a channel, the problem may occur. It is called a barrier. Barrier means the hurdle, the hindrance, or you can say the complications or a kind of gap comes in the way. So when we try to understand about the barriers to communication, the factor responsible for the breakdown in communication is called barriers to communication. These barriers distort the message for the sender, cause misunderstanding and create what is called communication gap, which is right now communication gap word. I think you have heard about this word, communication gap, or sometimes you have said generation gap. Most of the people said it's called generation gap. So obviously these are the basic barriers that comes in the way. So when we talk about the communication or barriers to communication, there are several kind of barriers are there. Sender send the message to the receiver, receiver receive it, but in the medium, in the meantime, during this particular process, there are several barriers comes in the way. Let's like physical barrier, psychological barrier, emotional barrier, social barrier, semantic barrier, medium barrier, language barrier, and the cultural barrier. We do not understand which barrier is coming and the problem may occur. We think that we are sending the right message, but what is the reason behind? Why people not understanding? Why people not getting my message? The reason is that it may be physical or psychological, emotional, semantic, or any kind of barrier may come. So we have to identify or acknowledge that particular barrier. If we understand it, if we comprehend it, then we can easily eradicate or overcome with this problem. So one by one we will go through it. So first, when we talk about the physical barrier deals with the environmental issues, or sometimes it is related with the physical lifestyle or physical problems. The first thing is just like a noise. If you are sitting in a classroom or outside the class there is an uproar or a commotion or a noise is there, you will not be able to concentrate in the classroom. So it's called physical barrier. Sometime improper time, you are sleeping and your friend comes and he says that I want to watch a movie, would you like to come with me? So obviously it's an improper time and you are not comfortable in that particular situation. It's called physical. Distance, long distances create the physical barrier. And basically environment is always conducive for the right kind of communication, but extreme conditions, just like extreme cold, extreme heat, create problem. Suppose you are sitting in a room and it is closed all over, and ventilation is not there, and after some time you feel dizzy. So in that particular situation you will not be able to communicate properly. So environment is conducive for the right kind of communication, but up to some extent it creates hurdle, it creates barrier. The first thing is, in the physical barrier we have to understand what are the problems that we are getting it. In the physical barrier we have some physical disorders also, just like discomfort. Physical discomfort distract us, just like minor physical disorder like headache. If you are suffering from headache, stomach ache, or a bad cold, in that condition you will not be able to communicate properly. Physical interference like illegible handwriting, usually doctors use this kind of handwriting, illegible handwriting, that nobody can understand, only pharmacists can understand that particular handwriting. It's called illegible handwriting. Disturbance in telephone lines, you are talking to somebody, or some kind of network jam is there, or mobile cellular network jam is there, so it comes in the physical. Or sometimes defective microphones, you are talking to somebody, or you are giving some kind of speech to other people, so obviously the mic creates the hurdle. Or the faulty sitting arrangement. Sitting arrangement must also be very proper for the audience. I think all of you have watched so many movies in the multiplexes or the cinema halls. I don't think so that you get difficulty if a tall person sits opposite to you, or in the your next seat. You will not get any difficulty because there is a proper sitting arrangement. In a classroom also we have a sitting arrangement of 20, 20, 20. We can accommodate 60 students at a time. There is a proper arrangement. If we increase or develop, we increase one more row, obviously it would be difficult for me to communicate properly or handle the class, because I have to move a lot. So sitting arrangement must be proper. If there is a faulty sitting arrangement, we will not be able to share our ideas in a proper manner. So bad cold, headaches, or faulty sitting arrangement, or defective microphones or telephone lines, obviously it creates physical barrier. Next one is psychological barrier. What is psychology? Psychology means when we deals with the mindset of the people, it's called psychology. So most you can say that imperative barrier comes in the way when you have a particular opinion or attitude. When you think that I have all kind of ideas, I know it all, मुझे सब पता है. Why people are giving me an idea? Why people are sharing some idea to me? Why I should listen? When you have this kind of attitude or opinion, that opinion, when you are saying something with my favorable thing, obviously it suits me, I will be happy. If you are not talking about my concern or my opinions, or according to, you are not talking about my ideas, then you are not giving good ideas to other people. So it means that when some people have this kind of attitude or opinions about other people. Second thing is tunnel vision. Tunnel vision means we have a specific mindset, closed mindset, that we will not listen to any other person. It usually happen in the our daily life. Then we have some kind of closed mindset that I know everything about this thing. Ego defensiveness. Ego means when my ego is satisfied, then I will talk about this thing. When my ego is clashed or somebody is trying to hurt me, then I will not listen to him. Or selective perception. I have made my mindset that I would not listen to this person. So it's called selective perception. So obviously preconceived notion of a communicator or a receiver, or some people have mental limitation. Obviously they don't want to listen people, or though they usually do not learn new things. So obviously I was just reviewing one interview of Amitabh Bachchan. He was saying that I learn a lot of things from newcomers. Obviously I think he has already done 800 plus movies, but still he is saying that he was giving a reference of Prabhas. Prabhas is the actor, the Bahubali actor. He was giving reference to that particular actor. He was saying that I learn a lot of things from these newcomers. They are doing very good things. They are very good in acting. See, this is the way through which we can learn. Still, Amitabh Bachchan is going on. He is doing so many advertisements or so many movies in that particular age also. So it shows that if you have that particular mindset, if you want to learn new things, if you learn new ideas from other people, then you will be survive. So psychological barriers means that when we keep our mindset closed, we do not want to learn new things, we have a specific attitude and opinion toward other people, we have a selective perception about people or ideas, then we would not be able to learn new things. That is called psychological barrier. These are the pictures that you can easily identify. Most of the divorce cases usually happens. Why? Because people do not want to listen other people. In marriages, usually what happens? Marriages obviously depends on the understanding. When you listen somebody, because we are living together, so obviously we have to listen somebody. So in that particular situation, most of the divorce cases usually happens because we usually do not want to learn or listen somebody. So these are the problems. It usually happens. Next barrier is emotional barrier. Emotions always play a pivotal role in a communication. Without emotions, we cannot communicate properly. If I am happy, my communication will be more joyous. If I am sad or in the sorrow mood, my face will show that kind of sadness or sorrow. So emotions, obviously we say that emotions play an important role. So emotions, we share not only words, we share feelings, we share emotions to the other people. So emotions play an important role in communication, but extreme condition of emotions create hurdle for communication. If you are perplexed, if you are thinking too much, you are perplexed about something, then you will not be able to give your 100%. If you are worried, you are thinking about your parents, your kids, your wife, your kith and kin, obviously in that situation you will not be able to give 100%. You will not give the proper information to other people. You will not translate things properly. If you are angry, you have seen so many things. If you are so much angry, your face will turn red and your voice will choke because you are so much angry. In that situation, you will not be able to communicate properly. You are so much excited. When you are so much excited, in that situation also, you will not be able to communicate properly because you are so much happy. Or sometimes you are afraid, so much afraid or nervous when you are giving a speech, and when you see so much such a kind of audience, and you see the auditorium full of audience. In that situation, your feet will shiver, your hands will sweat, and you will not be able to utter anything. You have prepared a lot, but still you will not be able to communicate. You will not be able to translate that message to other people. It's called emotional barrier. Emotions play an important role, but extreme condition of you are afraid. If you are crossing a jungle and somebody says that there is a leopard or there is a lion or a tiger, in that situation you will not talk to somebody. You will just try to cross that jungle because you are afraid. You will not enjoy anything. You will not enjoy that particular scenery or nature because you are afraid. You will not talk to anybody. So extreme condition of emotions create hurdle. If you are perplexed or anxiety, you are in the anxiety condition or the worried, or you are angry, or you are so much happy, or you are so much excited or afraid or nervous, in that situation you can't translate that message to other people. So it's called emotional barrier. These are the pictures that you can I think in the present scenario you have gone through this kind of pictures. Next barrier is social barrier. What is social barrier? Basically, when we talk about the society, when we talk about the social life, we live in the society. Basically, we say that we are a social animal. So obviously, when we talk about the society, we have different discriminations, different distinctions like gender, age, race, national, cultural origin, then sub-economic classes, education level, urban or rural residence. Then we have classified ourselves. हम लोगों ने अपने को बांट रखा है. So in that situation, what happens? There are different kind of barrier comes in the way. Due to the age, due to the gender, then caste, then creeds, and these, and that kind of things usually happens. So just like gender, when we talk about the gender, major influence on the way when we communicate with others. Usually, male and female usually have that kind of hesitation. They usually do not talk to directly. Specifically, when we talk about the Indian mindset or Indian conditions, we have some kind of reservations. We usually have some kind of reservation. That's why we do not talk directly to the people. It's called social barrier. When man and woman work together in a group, man tend to be more assertive and self-confident. The study says that man is more confident instead of women, because they show their more dominating power. So it's called you can say that gender issues. Women are more likely than man to be express their emotions, to reveal how they feel about the situation. Women are more expressive than the men. They cry, they laugh, they express their ideas, they express in a very creative manner, but men usually do not express that kind of situation. They try to hide, they try to conceal, they try to keep it in their heart. They do not reveal it, they do not unleash it. So there is a particular gender barrier. Age is also kind of social barrier. Young people and old people communicate in different ways, obviously, because the maturity level enhance the communication development. Aged people or the mature people have a different kind of attitude towards the life. They talk in a different manner. Young people and young kids have different kind of language issues. They talk in a very different language, and they share their ideas abruptly without thinking anything. But the mature people have some kind of reservations. They do not talk directly. They have some kind of specific communication ideas. So we do not tend to judge a statement by different standard if we know the speaker's age. So obviously it's called generation gap also. Usually what happens that young people try to avoid talk to their old parents, older grandparents, because they think that they do not know anything about this thing. Every generation has this kind of issue, because they think that we are more superior than the others. Young people think that they are superior because they have a technological advancement and they have a lot of knowledge, and old people, or you can say that mature people, or the other generation think that they know everything about this thing. So obviously it's called a generation gap. It usually happens, every generation has this kind of problem. They do not listen other generation. In our country we have some status consciousness also, status consciousness of social economic classes, just like we have divided in different classes. Then still reservation is going on in our country for the development of the unprivileged, or you can say that underdeveloped people. So still it is going on. So we have a caste system, we have a creed, or we have a different kind of reservations, we have a different kind of divisions. So that's why usually people have you can say that some kind of hesitation. They do not directly talk to people because they think that we belong to this particular caste, we belong to this particular creed, we belong to this particular region. And the situation usually create problem. Now the next barrier is semantic barrier. What is semantic? Most of the communication carried through the words, we know very well. There are verbal and the non-verbal communication. Verbal communication means when we communicate through the words. So in this particular situation what happens ki we usually share some ideas, but sometimes people take the another meaning of the word. It is rightly said that meaning is in the mind, not in the words. Meaning is in the mind, not in the words. What I am saying, you are understanding, comprehending, or assimilating something different idea. Meaning is in the mind, it's your mind, because you have that kind of mindset, you have that kind of understanding, you have that kind of idea or perception. I am talking in a very different manner and you are taking in a different manner. So in that situation the semantic barrier occurs. Words are symbol to which no fixed meaning is attached. Words are symbol to which no fixed meaning is attached. It is rightly said that meaning is in the mind, not in the symbol itself. Meaning is in the mind, not in the symbols. So whatever I am saying, you can take the another meaning of the word and you can take the other perception of my communication. So miscommunication usually take place when people assign the another meaning of the word. Created when people use technical jargons, uses common to a particular field of specialization. Obviously, every profession has some kind of jargons. They use jargons for their own convenience. They make their communication more lively, expressive, creative, and convenient. That's why they use jargons. Jargons means specific terminology used in a specific profession. So they use jargons to make your communication more impressive. But in that situation, other people do not understand. People do not take the meaning of that particular word. That's why the semantic barrier happens. So semantic barrier means when we take the another meaning of the. For example, I give one beautiful example. There is one word fair. Fair. The meaning of this fair word has multiple meaning. One word, fair, has a multiple meaning. One fair, obviously I am not talking about the spelling. It's very homonym. You have to understand the homonyms or homophones or homographs in that particular situation. But I am talking about the fair. When I am saying something, so in a fair means, one fair means complexion, British complexion, dark complexion or fair complexion. Second fair is, what is the fare from Indore to Mumbai? Fair. Third fair is fun fair, book fair, you know it. And the fourth fair is everything is fair in love and war. Obviously spelling may be different. Spelling may be, I am not talking about the spelling, but I am saying the word fair. So which fair you are understanding? I am saying it's not fair and it is not related with the fair. So obviously you will be confused. It is called semantic barrier because words have the multiple meanings. One word run has 135 meanings. 135 meanings. Which run you are taking, which you are using in your ideas. So you have a limited mindset, you have limited understanding. Language have lots of things. Language has lots of meanings. Every word has the multiple meanings. It's like cell or scent. If I am talking about the word scent, which scent I am talking about? Scent means perfume, I am using it, or scent means the scent hermit, I am talking about this thing. Or scent means I sent something, SENT or SAI. Spelling may be different, but when I communicate, you take the another meaning of the word. So it's called semantic barrier. Semantic barrier means language. In the language we have multiple meanings and people take the another meaning of the word and the problem may occur. I am encoding my message in the right direction, in the right form, but people decode or receiver decode in a very different direction and the problem may occur. That is called semantic barrier. So it may be possible due to the different languages or you can say that poor vocabulary, because people do not have that kind of vocabulary. Jargons, I told you earlier that jargons may be the reason for the semantic barrier or the perception. Perception means people have that kind of mindset and people have that kind of understanding. They understand only these kind of things. They have a myopia. They think only these kind of things. That's why the perception is there. So it comes in the semantic barrier. Message does not assign to same meaning. These are the basic things about the perception. You can see this picture also. Some people think that one person is playing something, saxophone, a person is playing the saxophone, and another people can understand that there is a, you can see the face of a lady also. So perception means how you see, how many legs of this elephant you can see it. This picture shows that it's perception. It's called perception. How you see, how you acknowledge, how you understand, how you comprehend, how you assimilate, and how you translate this message to the other people. That's called perception. Next barrier is cultural barrier. In our this country, we have a different varieties of languages and cultures. I think from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, we have a different cultures. We can find it, different food habits, different different attire we use it, different kind of music is there, or we can say dance form is there. somewhere you can use the bhangra, or somewhere you use the garba. In Madhya Pradesh we use the rai dance, or kathakali, or bharatnatyam, asami, bihu. There are different kind of culture, dance, food, eating habits we can identify. So we have a different culture, different religions, different ideas about their life. So when there is a culture, they have a different attitude, they have a different norms, they have a different opinions, they have a different dialects. So different languages, dialect, individual linguistic abilities, use of difficult words, inappropriate words, pronunciation, or sometime idiom, phrases, proverbs. Every culture has this kind of thing. We must understand that particular language, that particular notion, that particular attitude towards their life. If you are visiting those particular places, you have to be aware about this thing. If you are not aware, obviously problem may occur, because every culture has a different thing, every culture has a different ideas. And Chinese, specifically when you are visiting another countries, just like Chinese countries or Arab countries, you have to be very particular about this thing. In the Arab countries, you cannot use so many things. There are so many norms are there, so many taboos are there. You have to be very aware about this thing. So culture always create barrier. Norms and values, beliefs, social practices and traditions, we have to understand it. Without understanding and without acknowledging that particular culture, it may create hurdle, or it may create blunder sometime, up to some extent, because we have a different norms. So people have to respect our tradition, people have to respect our culture, and we have to respect. It's a reciprocate thing. We have to respect other culture also. So cultural barrier is essential to understand. These are the things. Different way of greeting, you can find it. Some people shake hands, some people use different kind of gestures for communication. Next barrier is when you work in the organization, it usually happens. Organization barrier. Every organization has some specific rules and regulations, some policies are there, and they try to implement it in a very rigid manner up to some extent, and sometimes it's kind of flexy thing. Rules and policies, usually in an organization, if you want to maintain the discipline, you have to follow some kind of specific rules, just like timings or some kind of leave policies or HR policies. You have to basically follow it. The organization barriers must be there. It usually happens. Next is hierarchical positions. When you work in the organization, there are different kind of protocol, and the people work in that particular situation. Your boss is there, superior boss is there, then immediate boss is there, then your colleagues are there, colleagues when you work together, and your ground people, they work. Obviously your inferior people, inferior in the sense they do some basic things, basic position work, just like things. So hierarchy in our organization, we have some protocols and the hierarchy. It's kind of pyramid is there. From top to bottom, the information flows. The most of the policies comes from the upward to downward communication. That kind of situation usually happens. Most of the policies come from the upper level to down level, and the feedback or suggestions or the request or the demand goes from downward level to upward level. So in every organization we have a hierarchy, we have a specific positioning, every work people, every employee work on that particular position, and they maintain that position. So obviously the problem may occur when you are communicating with your boss, or your immediate boss, or at the top of the organization. It may be difficult. Next thing is organization facilities. Sometime organization facilities create hurdle, just like any kind of situation, any kind of facilities, just like technological support, or some kind of other facilities, just like leave, or some kind of vacations, or some kind of in any organization there are several issues are there, several facilities are there, so it create hurdle. Then complex organization structure, yeah, this is important, because if your structure is very simple, then you can easily communicate, but your organization structure is very complicated and very intricate, then people will not be able to communicate in that manner. So it should be very simple. And just like you have seen the Facebook office, the Mark Zuckerberg sits with all his employees. There is no wall, there is no barrier amongst them, because they share their ideas. There is no specific boundaries are there. They sit together, they can move anywhere, and they can share their ideas, they can talk to anybody. It's called simplified organization structure, where you are more open to other people, and people accept it, people like it, because it's just like a teamwork, where you are working in a team and you are sharing your ideas to other people also. If you have an issue, if you have a problem, you can directly meet other people. So how much the complex system will be there, the problem will be there, and then people will try to avoid that kind of situation. They will not directly talk to the people, and the gossiping will start, and you can say it's called grapevine communication. Grapevine communication means when people discuss not directly to the right person, but they share other ideas to other people. It's called grapevine communication. So organization structuring, or policies, or hierarchy position, or facilities create hurdle. Next barrier is personal barrier. Every person has some kind of specific mindset or specific attitude towards the life, because everyone is not same. You can say that every person is not same. Everyone has a different attitude towards the life. Everyone has a different attitude towards the lifestyle or the system. Some people curse it, some people see the positive things, some people think it's a negative thing. So personal barrier may be problem for others. Just like ability to effective communicate, some people have some kind of reservation, some people stammer, or they mumble, or some kind of hesitation. It's called glossophobia. Glossophobia means speaking in public. Usually they have fear to talk publicly. So ability to effective communicate, way people process and interpret information. Some people do not interpret properly. They are unable to decode the message in the right way. They understand in a different manner. Semantic barrier, just like semantic barrier, or sometimes decoding problems, because we encode, send the message, encode it, and choose the right medium or channel to the person, and receiver receive it, decode it, but at the decoding level problem may occur. So the way people interpret things may be problematic. Level of interpersonal trust between the people. Some people do not have trust to other people. They think that, what they can do, I know it very well, they will not do anything. They don't have any power, they don't have any that kind of gut to do this thing. So that kind of trust we have to develop it. Stereotype and prejudice, we have that kind of prejudice level. Then we think that why we should tell to these people. This kind of prejudices usually happens. Egos also create problem when you have some kind of reservation or some kind of egos to the other people. Poor listening skills, another personal barrier. Poor listening skills, we say something but we do not listen to the other people because we think that we know everything. So that is called poor listening skill. And after some time, when somebody try to say something, we just avoid it, we just ignore it, we just deny it. It's poor listening skill. Neutral tendency to evaluate the judge or sender's message. We do not react, we do not respond. Neutral tendency. We are not giving feedback, we are not giving suggestions, we are not giving the response to the people. Neutral tendency. It's called personal barrier. Or inability to listen with understanding. Abruptly, half-heartedly, or half listening, you can say that. When somebody is saying something and you just interpret and you just you can say that intrude in that particular situation. Intrusion. So half-heartedly when you are listening, or you are not listening properly to the person and try to intrude, try to involve in that particular conversation, it may occur personal barrier. And next barrier is technological barrier, which is very common in the present scenario, because right now we are using lot of communicating tools. Technological advancement are there, and technological tools we are using it, just like mobile phone or computers or laptop or different kind of gadget. Every day gadgets are coming day by day. It's like a flood. You cannot stop it. You have to use it, but after some time it becomes obsolete. So technology, you have to be updated, you have to be upgraded, you have to be upskill your lifestyle with this technological tools. So technological barrier may occur, use of technology which is not very updated, when you are using very old fashioned technology, just like we are using this AV studio for communication, we are recording something in a very different manner. So this thanks for the technology, but if you earlier when we talk about this thing, it's a nightmare, you can say that कि पहले के समय में कैसा होता होगा. Obviously use of technology may be enhance our lifestyle. Lack of technological knowledge, technical noises, barriers at decoding level stages may occur. Technological barriers. Medium barriers, there are different kind of mediums are there, just like visual. When the sender send the message to the person, he use some different kind of medium or the channel for communication, just like oral communication, verbal communication, you can say so, verbal communication. Then second one is written communication, or visual communication, and the audio visual communication. There are different modes are there for the right kind of communication. Which medium you are choosing it depends on the convenience of the receiver, how much compatible receiver is, because receiver is not able to understand anything. It's futile whatever you are saying. If I am saying something to you and you are unable to understand anything, and suppose your mic is not working properly, or suppose you have some listening issues, or sometime you have some basic issues related with the medium, you will not be able to understand anything. So thing is that what kind of medium you are choosing it. So first you have to understand the compatibility or caliber or the capacity of the receiver, then you have to choose that kind of medium. If you are choosing the wrong medium, that communication will not be perfect. The barrier may usually happens when we choose the wrong medium. If a person is deaf and you are giving the oral communication. You are using oral lecture, you are giving the oral lecture, person is deaf, a person is blind, and you are giving some verbal written notes to him. It's futile, it's wastage of time. So we use different mediums, just like visuals. We show ads, we show audio visual clips, we show some audio visual ads, movies, telefilms, documentaries, to make our communication more effective. PPTs, just like we are using it, PPT. We are using audio visual communication, audio visual. You can watch also, you can see also, you can listen also. Audio visual communication, this is the best medium of communication. So you have to choose the medium accordingly. If you are choosing the wrong medium, then the problem may occur and nobody will understand anything. It's called medium barrier. And the next is the language barrier. Last one is the language barrier. Obviously in India we have 22 official languages and 800 plus dialects. So obviously when every culture, you can say that there is a proper saying is there, चार कोस पे बदले पानी, 8 कोस पे बदले वाणी. After every 4 kilometers the water changes, and after every 8 kilometers the language changes. So we have that kind of variety of languages in our country. We have the Hindi, then Odia, then Marathi, then the Punjabi, then Urdu, then that. There are 22 official languages we have, and 800 plus dialect. Dialect means the native language. Just like Malvi in Indore, Nimadi in Nimad area. So these are the dialects. When so many people use these dialects, it converts into language. So we have 22 official languages and 800 plus dialects. So we have that kind of barrier. It happens. If you are visiting Tamil Nadu, you will find that kind of barrier. If you are visiting Bengal, you will find that kind of barrier, because people do not understand up to some extent. Nowadays it's not up to that level, because people using different languages, second languages like English, they are using it. So that's why but earlier that was the severe issue. People usually do not understand that thing. So language barrier, regional barriers are there, language barriers are obviously there. In other countries also, if you are visiting China, if you are visiting some European countries, Norway or some kind of Scandinavish or some kind of German countries, German language may be difficult, Japanese. So if you are visiting US, people understand English language, but other countries people have that kind of language barrier. So language may also create hurdle. If you are saying something, if you are sharing your ideas to the other person, so he must be aware about that particular language, the language barrier. Now we have to understand that how we can overcome. We have discussed about the barriers to communication. There are different barriers are there: psychological, semantic, language, technological, cultural, social. But now how we can overcome with these barriers? The first thing is two-way communication. Two-way communication means when I am talking to somebody, he must give the response or suggestions and the feedback or the reaction on my communication. It should be two-way communication. It should not be monotonous. I am talking and you are just listening. You are not showing any reaction. You are not giving any suggestion. It should be two-way communication. When two-way communication is there, people give their ideas to other person, and if you have any problem or a barrier, we can resolve at that particular time. In a classroom also, if you are talking to your students, if they are sitting silently or neutral, it means that something bad is going on. You can say that something fishy is there. It may be possible that they are not understanding or they are not getting my point. So Two-way communication, up to some extent, try to resolve the issues. Strengthening communication network, we have to develop communication network, different kind of networks we have to develop it. If somebody is not understanding, we have to use another network. If you are not getting my point, you have to use another thing, this point, that point, that point. Obviously we have to convince people, you have to persuade people, we have to give new ideas or avenues for that particular issues. Promoting participative approach, just like that, we have to call people for the communication, we have to involve in our communication. If they have issues, if they have some kind of understanding issues or comprehending issues, then we have to discuss with the people, we have to call them, we have to approach them, we have to participate in that particular issue, particular programs, and then we can try to solve the problem. Appropriate language is essential, because if you are using very complicated and very you can say that very jargons, there are different kind of jargons we use to make our communication more impressive, but up to some extent it is not possible, people do not understand it. So that's why we have to use the simple, lucid or clear language. We have to follow the simple 7 C's of effective communication. 7 C's means courtesy or consideration or concreteness or conciseness. Conciseness is also important, because brevity is wit, you can say that. Your communication should be very brief or concise or to the point, and people should understand it. Otherwise it's a futile, it's a wastage of time. Next one is credibility in communication. You must create the credibility. You have to develop that kind of trust in your audience, that if I am saying something, it means that I will try to resolve your issues. You can show trust to me also. And the next one is good listening. If I am saying something, first I have to listen properly to you also. If you are saying something, so barrier may occur because people do not listen. People do not listen. First we have to listen to the audience also. What they want, what is their requirement, what is their demand, what is their need. If they want to listen something, another thing, and you are giving something another, the problem may occur. Now in the present scenario, there are different mediums are there, channels are there. You have to give your 100%. And it is only possible, first you have to understand the audience, first you have to understand your people, what they want to listen, what they want to choose. The good listening is important. First you have to identify what they want to listen. Next one is selecting on effective communication channel. Right kind of channel you have to choose it. I told you earlier that if you are using or choosing the wrong channel or a medium for communication, it may create hurdle, it may create barriers to your communication. So in short, you can say that communication, right kind of communication is only possible if you try to avoid that kind of hurdle comes in the way. Sender send the message to the receiver. Before sending the message, he encode the message in the right direction. He choose the mediums or channels and send the message to the receiver. Receiver receive it, decode it, understand it, comprehend it, assimilate it, and he gives the feedback to the person. It's a particular process is there. But in that situation, the problem may occur. Environmental issues are there, physical issues are there, semantic, perception, psychological, social issues. We usually do not talk to the people, directly to the higher authority. We do not talk to the rich people. We do not talk to there are different kind of issues are there. We need to identify those issues or barrier, and we have to overcome with this thing. because we are living in the, you can say that we are living in the age of communication. So it is very imperative to understand what we are saying something, and we have to avoid that kind of barrier. If you are avoiding or ignoring or overcoming with this problem, you can win the entire world. Thank you very much for this session. I hope that you learn something about this thing, about this barriers to communication. Thank you very much.